The crowd begins gathering before sunrise in a medieval town. News travels fast when an execution is scheduled. Church bells echo. Merchants close their stalls. Bakers leave ovens. Farmers stop their carts. Public executions are not hidden events. They are meant to be seen. Guards surround the platform with spears held upright, keeping the mass back. At the center of the platform sits a single object, a block of dark oak. The wood is worn smooth from years of use. Everyone knows what it means. Children whisper questions. Parents stare with grim fascination or look down. The law demands punishment, but someone must deliver it. A door opens beside the platform, and you step into the light. You wear a heavy black hood that hides your face. The crowd grows quieter. Hundreds of people are staring at the same man, not the prisoner, you. Level 1. Entry. You never planned to become an executioner. In medieval towns, the role is inherited. Your father served for 30 years. People feared him. Parents warned children to stay away from his house. When your father died, the city council offered you his position. Justice required an executioner, and that responsibility now belonged to you. Neighbors stopped greeting you. Shopkeepers avoided conversation. Merchants refused to sell to you directly. You left coins on the counter. Your home stood outside the walls near the gallows field. Level 2. Training. Execution is not simply killing, it must be precise. A botched execution is cruel. Your father owned a massive sword. Behind your house stood a training post. You practiced on animal carcasses. At first, your blows were weak. The blade stuck halfway through bone. Again, and again, and again. Your shoulders burned, your hands blistered. One evening, your father watched. The blade passed cleanly through. Level 3. First execution. The condemned man is a highway robber. Public executions resemble strange festivals. Vendors sell bread and wine. You stand beside the block wearing the black hood. The priest prays. The condemned man trembles. He looks up at you. His eyes are wide with terror. Your father's voice echoes in your mind. One strike. You raise the sword. The weight of it feels heavier than ever before. Then you bring it down. The blade cuts cleanly. The head rolls across the wooden platform. For a heartbeat, the entire square is silent. Then the crowd erupts. Some cheer, some gasp, others turn away. But when you step down from the platform and walk through the crowd, people move aside, not out of respect, out of fear, because now they understand something very clearly. You are no longer the executioner's son. You are the executioner. Level 4. The routine. At first, every execution feels unreal. Your hands tremble after the blade falls. The sound of the crowd echoes long after the square has emptied. But time changes things. Weeks pass, then months, and another sentence arrives from the court, then another. Execution slowly becomes part of your life. Some criminals are thieves who stole bread or livestock. Others are violent men captured after bloody crimes on the road. Each execution brings the same crowd, the same restless murmur, the same moment of silence before the blade falls. But the prisoners are always different. Some beg until the very last moment. One man collapses before reaching the platform, forcing the guards to drag him forward. Another stands strangely calm, staring at the sky while the priest reads the final prayer. One prisoner laughs uncontrollably as if he has lost his mind. Another thanks you quietly before kneeling. That moment stays with you because it reminds you of something uncomfortable. Justice in the medieval world is not always clear.
Some criminals are monsters. Others are simply desperate men who made one terrible mistake. But once the sentence is given, your duty never changes. You raise the sword, you bring it down, and the law is satisfied.
Level 5, the specialist. As the years pass, your reputation spreads beyond your city. Nearby towns begin requesting your services. Not every executioner is skilled. Some lack the strength to deliver a clean strike. Others panic when faced with large crowds. A botched execution can quickly turn into chaos. There are stories of executioners beaten by angry spectators after failing their duty. But your work is precise, efficient. People begin calling you when the sentence is severe. You travel from town to town performing executions ordered by different courts. Each location brings different punishments: beheading, hanging, burning at the stake, breaking on the wheel. Some punishments are meant to be quick. Others are designed to be slow and terrifying. Public spectacle is part of the law. The suffering of one person is meant to frighten thousands more. You begin carrying different tools for different sentences: ropes, iron shackles, heavy mallets, sometimes the sword, always the sword. Because no matter the punishment, the executioner is the final step, and that step always ends the same way. Level 6, the cost. At the beginning, executions frighten you. Your hands shake after every one. You replay the moment of the blade falling again and again in your mind. But something slowly changes. The fear fades. Execution becomes routine, mechanical. You notice something unsettling. When prisoners kneel before the block, you no longer see them as people. You see positioning, balance, angles. Your wife notices the change before you do. You speak less at home. Your thoughts seem distant. The weight of the job follows you everywhere. Some nights you wake suddenly remembering the sound of the blade striking bone. Not nightmares exactly, just memories, faces, voices, the crowd cheering, the moment a life ends with a single movement of your arm. People in the city avoid you during the day, but in your own home, the silence grows heavier every year. Because even when the world calls it justice, the executioner still carries every death. Level 7, authority. After many years, you become one of the most experienced executioners in the region. Local courts begin consulting you about punishments. Your knowledge of torture devices and interrogation methods becomes valuable to judges and investigators. You inspect racks, iron chairs, and other instruments used during questioning. You advise officials on how long a prisoner can endure certain punishments before dying too soon. The work becomes darker, less public, more secret. Eventually, you begin training apprentices, young men whose fathers once held the same position. They arrive at your home, nervous and uncertain. You teach them the same lessons your father taught you: precision, calm, detachment. One evening, an apprentice asks you a question while polishing the executioner's sword. How do you live with it? You pause before answering, because the truth is not simple. Finally, you say the same words your father once told you. You separate the man from the duty. Because if you think too long about the people kneeling before you, the sword becomes impossible to lift. Level 8, the veteran. Years pass, more executions than you can easily remember. At some point, you stop counting. The crowds never change. They still gather early in the morning. They still whisper and push closer to the platform. Some arrive out of curiosity, others because witnessing punishment reminds them that the law still has power. But your perspective changes. You begin to watch the faces in the crowd instead of the condemned. Some people look excited, some look horrified,
Most look relieved, relieved that someone else stands on the platform instead of them. Because every execution reminds the public of something simple. Anyone can fall. Anyone can become the person kneeling at the block. You begin to understand your true role. You are not justice. You are the final step of justice. The moment when the law becomes reality. The moment when law becomes death. And that moment belongs entirely to you.
Level 9. The Weight.
With time, the sword begins to feel heavier. Not because it has changed, but because you have. Your shoulders ache after every execution. Your hands are no longer as steady as they once were. You notice something else too. The faces begin to stay with you. Not just criminals, but the crowd, the families watching, the children who stare at the platform with wide eyes. Once, during an execution in another town, you notice a young boy standing in the front row. He cannot be older than 10. While others turn away when the blade falls, the boy does not move. He watches everything, completely still. You wonder what he will remember years from now. The criminal, the crowd, or the man holding the sword. That night, you realize something disturbing. Executions are meant to frighten people into obedience, but they also teach the crowd something else. They teach them that death can become entertainment, and you are standing at the center of it.
Level 10. Leaving. Eventually, age forces a decision. The sword feels heavier each year. Your strikes are still clean, but they take more effort than before. The city council notices. Quietly, they appoint a replacement, one of the apprentices you trained many years ago. He visits you the night before his first execution. The same nervous energy you once felt fills the room. You hand him the executioner's sword. The blade catches the light of the candle between you. "This is heavier than it looks," he says. You nod. Yes. But you know the sword is not the heaviest part of the job. The weight comes later, years later, after the crowd, after the silence, after the faces begin to stay in your memory. The next morning you attend his first execution, not on the platform, in the crowd. For the first time in decades, you stand among ordinary people. No one recognizes you. No one steps aside as you walk through the square. You are simply another face in the crowd. And for the first time in your life, you realize how strange that feels. The apprentice performs the execution perfectly. One clean strike. The crowd reacts exactly as it always has. Gasps, cheers, whispers. Nothing has changed, except the man holding the sword. Level 11. The Cycle. Later that evening, you walk through the quiet streets of the town. People pass by without noticing you. Somewhere in the distance, you hear laughter from a tavern. Life continues. It always does. But you know something most people never think about. Justice does not end when the crowd leaves the square. Because somewhere in the city tonight, another judge is finishing a trial. Another verdict will soon be spoken. Another sentence will be written. And when the time comes, someone will stand on that wooden platform. Someone will raise the blade. Someone will deliver the final act of the law. The executioner, feared by everyone, respected by almost no one, yet always necessary. Because every society demands order. Courts pass sentences. Crowds gather to watch. But someone must carry out the final moment. And once a man accepts that responsibility, it becomes the life he carries forever. even after he puts the sword down.